this is Bobby Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to BBQ Central.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Hey, welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. It's the show that happens to be the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. We do it live each week right here from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday. If you feel the itch, the desire, the need to jump in on the phone, a little bit of a change up because we're having mega trouble with the big-time new phone crap. We will retreat back to the old standby hotline number. That's 216-220-0966. Again, 216-220-0966. And once we get the other, if we ever get the other one wigged out, I'll give that number to you again. If you would rather get in touch with the show through the email, you can do that as well.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to greg@bbqcentralshow.com or on the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. He used to be a monthly visitor, and then I thought it would be a little bit more advantageous and perhaps even efficient to bust him out to the quarterly. Certainly not a demotion, but when you are evaluating the number of cookers, grills, flat tops, smokers, barbecues, hybrids, the likes of what my next guest does, who I still believe is probably the only guy doing this as a full-time job. I thought it would be better to run him out every third month so he can really hone in the list and have some items to talk about. So he rejoins us in his quarterly effort from AmazingRibs.com, the keeper of the flame. Max Good will be joining us, and we'll be talking expressly about the more newly released, although it's been out for a handful of weeks at this point, the 2018 Pitmaster Awards is what I believe they're calling it. But if you are in the midst of looking at grills and smokers, or a grill and a smoker, or some type of hybrid, whatever you're looking at, a lot of people often go to AmazingRibs.com, especially to their grills and smoker evaluation portion, and see what all the hubbub is about. Maybe they've heard something. Max is very adept at testing, unbiased. Sometimes they do get ones that are donated to them by the manufacturer asking for their evaluation. Sometimes they go out and buy them, a mix. But in any event, AmazingRibs.com's face to the internet buying nation and world is, hey, we're a unbiased platform that's going to give you our opinion on a cooker. And then you're at least armed with that information as a buyer on how they think of it. And then, of course, you can talk to your friends and neighbors about what they like. But if you want an unbiased platform that's highly regarded, AmazingRibs.com is the place to go. So we'll be talking about the 2018 Pitmasters list. So we're talking about grills, smokers, and all that stuff. And that'll be coming in about 10 minutes from now. And then we will move to another person in the business of barbecue who also is anointed, I guess you could say, or has he's at least graciously donating his time. I'll say anointed because it makes me sound more important. A quarterly visit from, I think, one of the biggest independent barbecue and grilling retailers not only on the west side of the Mississippi, but I believe in the whole United States. And of course, I'm talking about Sam Hayes, the owner of Sam's Northwest Barbecue Company. And we will be talking about one of his product lines. You know, when you look back, the first time Sam came in, we did a really big retrospective of him, his past business. If you would recall, Sam started as a trade, a barber, and then grew into the grill and barbecue sales. Did a little bit of both for quite a while, and then morphed all the way into just doing the barbecue and grilling retail stuff. So he has a number of product lines that he carries. So I figured, hey, wouldn't be better to, or it would be great for him to come on once a quarter. We'll talk about a line that he has in his store, what kind of support he's getting, why he carries that stuff, and then his unbiased. I mean, certainly he's going to be biased to a degree because he has them in their store, but he does due diligence, as he told us on his first segment, a handful of months ago, about how he evaluates. So we'll talk to Sam specifically about the Myron Mixon Smokers. He took a trip out to that manufacturing facility. I believe it was in Vermont or Connecticut or one of those New England states. So we'll get a recap on that trip. And then, more importantly, how these things are put together, who they're really target marketed for, types of price points and models. That'll be Sam Hayes, 35 past. Then we'll move into the second hour. And at 10:14, the emergence of the monthly segment, the embedded correspondence segment. It's widely become one of the most popular segments that recurs here on this show. Doug Scheiding from Texas, Steve Ray from Ooltewah, Tennessee, and David Huff from Oklahoma will be joining us, and we'll go around the panel, and each of us have prepared some type of barbecue and or grilling take to some degree. It's not necessarily competition related or not competition related. And we'll see what everybody's talking about. Then we will go around the table and give everybody else's take on their specific topic. Always fun. And then we can mix in your stuff as well. We got a $50 gift card up for grabs from BJ's Restaurant and Brew House from Scott Rodriguez last week. So we'll figure out a way to give that away maybe in the second hour. And we will also take your phone calls and emails as the show progresses. 216-220-0966 is the call-in number. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com is your email address. Use them as you see fit. All right, I got a Instagram message, and it was, so somebody had posted a picture of me, and this message itself is actually screenshotted by the person that got it and then forwarded it to me. I don't know exactly what picture I was in. I believe it was taken a few months ago, maybe towards the NBBQA or whatever, but this one is from Brian on Instagram, and it says, in a quote, "Bro," talking about me, "does he even eat barbecue? He looks like an actor playing some third-string, no-lines wizard from some freaking Harry Potter movie between filming days wearing bad street clothes. That, or maybe it's the 7.5% ABV barrier-juiced IPA talking." Wow. Well, thanks for the personal evaluation, Brian. I'll tell you what. Why don't you focus less on my personal appearance, and let's focus on this task instead. Focus on getting me into the Barbecue Wizard Hall of Fame. Let's do that. Barbecue Wizard Hall of Fame. If you say I look like a third-string no-lines wizard from a Harry Potter movie. I mean, the real Barbecue Hall of Fame seems to be a little disenchanted with my general attitude. So, Brian, get to work on that project. Get me into the Barbecue Wizard Hall of Fame, if there is such a thing. If there's not, I apologize to anybody that's a fan of wizards who immediately got very excited viscerally that there might be a Barbecue Wizard Hall of Fame. But on the off chance there is, you know me, I'm looking to get into Barbecue Halls of Fame. I'm even looking to get into Barbecue Wizards Halls of Fame. So if that's a thing, Brian, check it out, Google it, nominate me, and bam, I want to be in there sooner than later, okay? Thanks for the personal evaluation. Also got this email from Tim in Virginia. Greg, I was listening to your most recent interview with Steven Reichland, and I have to say that was one of the best segments I have heard you do with him in recent memory. He gave some great info, wasn't over-the-top promote-y, and also found the time to give you some well-deserved props. I always enjoy him when he comes on the Really Big Barbecue Show, but this one stood out to me above the others. Thanks for the show each week. It makes my commute to work very enjoyable. By the way, I own a pit barrel cooker and love it. What happened to them sponsoring the show? Thanks again, Tim. Tim, thanks for writing it. In regards to what happened to Pit Barrel Cooker and as some of you have noticed, the non-sponsoring of the show, I think I'm getting ready to talk to Noah Glanville about that. There were some legal matters that they had to sort out that we're actually going through for quite some time, but we're all set through there. So actually, I'm working on getting Noah on the show to talk about that whole situation. It was really kept under wraps quite well. I knew about it. That's why they stepped away from this show to kind of hoard cash as they were fighting quite a lengthy battle and every penny counted. Not that they were, paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month here, although I could demand it. And command it. But I believe we got everything worked out. Working on getting Noah booked so we can talk about that whole charade. In the meantime, I will talk to you about Traeger grills. Behind every meat is a great grill, but not just any grill, a Traeger grill. And the Timberline is Traeger's most advanced grill line yet. It allows you to grill, smoke, bake, roast, braise, and barbecue like a pro, no matter what your level, thanks to the incredible wood-fired taste. Seriously, you don't know flavor till you're cooking with it. Traeger grills use all-natural hardwood flavor as fuel, so you're literally cooking with flavor. From low and slow smoked ribs to seared steaks, even a baked apple pie, Traegers can handle it all. And the Traeger Timberline makes it even easier thanks to the Wi-Fi capability. You can actually check on your cooks, kick up the temperature, and set custom cook cycles anytime, anywhere, all right on your phone through the Traeger app. In fact, I should go check on anything that I'm cooking on my Timberline right now. I could do it if I was cooking something. Find one at your local Traeger dealer or check them out online for convenience. Traeger Grills, that's plural, TraegerGrills.com. Now, if you want to beef up your barbecue game this summer, Traeger shop classes going coast to coast, bringing you barbecue knowledge and amazing wood-fired food everywhere they go, taught by professional pitmasters. You'll take home all the skills you need to reach your barbecue glory. Find a shop class near you and sign up today. Very economical and jam-packed with ideas and tricks and tips and techniques. Plus, you get to hang with some of the really cool pitmasters out there like Doug Scheiding and Matt Pidman and Chad Ward, BBQ, just to name a few. Again, you can find a shop class near you by visiting TraegerGrills.com/shopclass. That's TraegerGrills.com/shopclass. Max Good when we come back, talking about the 2018 Pitmasters list for grills and smokers. Stick around, be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils. All the Butcher Barbecue products have been tested on the competition circuit as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood, the king of your cul-de-sac. Visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. And always trust your butcher. Of course. Max Good from AmazingRibs.com in tonight to help with some suggestions of grills and smokers. In fact, we'll be talking about the best of 2018 Pitmaster list. from AmazingRibs.com. So we race over to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Max Good. Max, how are you, buddy?
Doing all right. Long time no see, Mr. Gregory.
That's right. Happy to have you back here for the quarterly visit. And we are going to be diving headlong into the 2018 Pitmaster list from AmazingRibs.com. So if I'm not mistaken, this has undergone a small name change over some year. That used to be like well, I forget what they were called before, but I don't believe it was the Pitmaster list.
Well, it was essentially the top 10 list. One of the reasons we changed the name was because we felt like everybody and their brother comes out with barbecue top 10 lists,
sure.
In the spring. So we thought, well, let's clever folks that we are. Let's try to differentiate ourselves. And that was part of the reason. And I feel we feel pretty good about the change.
All right, so let's go ahead and start jumping in here a little bit. By the way, I don't know if you can see this. See that? I got a nice burn trying to pick up my solo stove while it was on. I had welder's gloves, but somehow this got to the fireplace first, and it left a nice burn. Now I look like a man, finally. But not according to Brian, who thinks I look like a fifth-string wizard from some Harry Potter movie with no lines. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and get into the ratings, I guess. So when you go into the different segments, and by the way, we'll be talking about best combo cookers, best portable cookers, value backyard smokers, value charcoal grills, and value gas grills. When you punch in, there isn't necessarily this is number one, this is number two. There's, I guess, a handful of your best recommendations, if I'm putting that across right.
That is correct. They're actually arranged by price. We like to, within a category, like smokers or gas grills or whatever, we like to have a variety of designs and a variety of price ranges. So we don't rate them. This is the number one, and right underneath it is number two. It's rated the least expensive to the most expensive.
All right. So the first one up, as I had mentioned before, is called the best combo cooker segment. So go ahead and define that for us, just in case anybody's a little muddy on the description.
Well, many outdoor cookers can be used for a variety of different types of cooking. A big differentiation would be grilling as opposed to low and slow smoking. People talk about the difference between grilling and barbecue. Now, a Weber kettle, if you know what you're doing, can do both. But when we came up with the combo cookers list, we thought we'd try to get products that really are designed to do pretty much everything. The Weber Summit Charcoal Grill was one of the reasons we came up with this. We're seeing more and more of these type of multifunction implements. We kind of hesitated to get into these. When you go to the big box stores and you see like a cheap charcoal grill or charcoal smoker bolted to a cheap gas grill, yeah. We didn't want to include things like that. Although we did relent and we put in, Lang has a beautiful hybrid, yes. High quality, quarter inch, or actually it's 3/16 inch steel, I believe, system. So they got it in eventually, but we don't like to put those cheapy hybrid, if you want to call them that, bolted together pieces of junk, basically. But yeah, so these are products that can do everything.
All right, so the one that I had picked out is called the Camp Chef Woodwind Pellet Smoker with sear box, and this is coming in at, I guess, what is an MSRP of $899.
Yes, and you can get it for less than that, too.
All right.
Camp Chef makes some really nice stuff. We liked them for a long time. They don't have a really super-duper sophisticated controller, but it is a thermostatic controlled system, and it does have an integrated meat probe and a couple other neat features to it. It's a great, moderately priced pellet smoker, and a lot of people that are making pellet smokers try to come up with sear stations of. The typical schemes are something that you can remove a piece of metal, let's say, right over the fire pot. There's a small fire pot in a pellet smoker where the wood pellets burn. You remove a piece of metal over that, and you get direct exposure to the flame. And usually these schemes involve, or they would often involve, our friend Brad's grill grates, which will even out that heat and amplify it. But Camp Chef said, well, to heck with this, let's just go for the throat. They attached a super duper gas sear burner on the side of it, and that thing will get to 900 degrees, buddy. You can do some serious searing on it. So that one covers all the bases.
So you are firing up the main unit with wood pellets, just like you would with any other pellet grill, but then you have to hook up a tank to do the burner if you want that, or is it a 1-pounder, or you can do a 20-pounder, or what?
It's set up for a 20-pounder. I don't recall if they have any kind of adapter for. It's not one of those things that comes set up for a 1-pounder. I wouldn't be surprised if they have an adapter if that's something somebody would want. But it comes out of the box, set up for a 20-pound tank.
What do we like about Camp Chef? I've been hearing the name here for the last couple of years. We've had some discussions on various models here during your visits. Are they a grower in the industry, in the marketplace?
Oh, they've been around a long time, Greg. They make pretty much everything for camping. I think they make furniture and you name it. They've got griddles and cast iron stuff and tools and the name is appropriate. But they really started getting into pellet smokers a few years ago, and they've been doing a great job keeping the cost down, coming up with good ideas. They're very innovative. I left out one of the cool features I'm sorry. I'm thinking of their SG model. I got that on my deck. I still have to test it. But let me rewind a little bit. With the woodwind, it does have a kind of a neat thing that most pellet smokers don't have. And many of their pellet smokers, the Camp Chef pellet smokers, do have this. It's an ash removal system. Pellet smokers, most of them, you got to take out the grate, take off this drip pan that goes over the fire pot, and only then can you get to that fire pot. And you got to clean the ash out once in a while. If you don't, it's going to fail. So they have this sliding mechanism that it's like a trap door that's right under the fire pot. You slide a knob out. All the ash drops into a removable cup and you throw it away.
Excellent. Sounds great. I'm surprised nobody else has really integrated that into their...
I don't think anybody has anything quite like that. Some people have different types of schemes, but most pellet smokers don't have ash removal systems.
That's correct. All right, so let's go ahead and move to the best portable cooker category. That's kind of self-explanatory. And the one that I picked out solely on look alone is this thing called the Can Cooker Original. There it is on the video feed if you're watching here. If you're listening audio podcast, go back and get the feed at your convenience. But literally, it looks like some kind of an aluminum can or whatever it's made out of. $90, so pretty inexpensive, and it looks highly portable.
That it is, and people love this thing. It's a riff on an old way of cooking, like folks that are out on a farm. They call it cream can cooking. It's like a milk pail, basically. But this one is engineered to work a little better. It has it's made from food grade aluminum. And it has a lid with a silicone gasket around it that clamps shut. And all you do is put some oil in there, spray the side so things don't stick. Throw in whatever you want to cook, vegetables, meats, liquids, so you can get a gravy going. And you can place it on any kind of heat surface. It can be a gas grill, a charcoal grill. It could be an open fire. Although they do say if you're going to put it on a fire, an open wood fire, you should maybe put a ring of rocks or something to lift it up, to keep it from just settling into those red hot embers and burning up. But it's easy to use. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just put it over any kind of heat source and it'll steam and cook whatever you throw in it.
What kind of capacity are you looking at here on the original one?
Oh gosh, can
you fit like 7 chickens in it? I mean, people probably aren't cooking ribs or anything in here, are they?
No, well, I mean, you could, but it'd be braising. You know, it's not a smoker.
Right.
There's no way for the smoke to get at it. I apologize. I don't know the exact capacity. They do make it in 2 sizes. The size you showed, I believe, is the large size. And they do make one that's about half that size. There you go. Yep. Yeah. You can put a lot of stuff in it. I couldn't tell you the exact capacity. Sorry.
Well, $90, so certainly affordable for your portable grill option. And then we move to the best value backyard smoker. And so let me rewind. The Camp Chef was new to your list this year. The Woodwind pellet smoker with sear box. The can cooker is actually now in its 2nd year on the list. And this is also a new to your list, the Yoder Loaded Wichita 20-inch smoker, and this one's coming in for about $1,900.
That's the going rate for a big 20-inch high-quality offset smoker like this. I mean, in that neighborhood. We just wanted to give a shout out to Yoder. They're doing a lot of great things. Speaking of pellet smokers, they have some superb pellet smokers, but they have a wide variety of offsets and very high quality, all made from 1/4-inch new steel pipe, as opposed to, well, you know, some of these do-it-yourselfer guys get an old tank and try to clean it up and make something out of it. But, you know, I'd say that's industry standard for metal fabricators that are actually selling their stuff. They don't want to have any kind of liability from trying to reuse a tank that's held chemicals. But, you know, they're just very well made. They have from my understanding, I haven't been to it, but they have a very nice modern facility where they're cranking these things out. You can see when you see them, they're very well made. You know, it's a traditional design. Everybody puts their own spin on it, a few little design features here and there. But all in all, offsets are a basic design that's been around a long time.
Going to the best value charcoal grill, this one 3rd year on the list. It's a Napoleon NK22 CKC charcoal kettle grill. So aside from having quite a ridiculous name, and for $400, so you know, a little bit more expensive, I guess, than you would think for your traditional charcoal grill, unless we're talking about the PK style grills. Tell me a little bit about this cooker.
Well, it's nice. You know, when we see good charcoal grills, there's obviously a lot of them out there, but many of them are just really cheap kettle knockoffs, whether they're full size or portable. The Napoleon makes really good stuff. You know, they have sometimes been called Canada's Weber, and I think that would be a compliment that they deserve. This grill is a little different from a Weber kettle in that it has a hinged lid that swivels. So if you're, say, left-handed and you want to swivel it off to the left, or for whatever reason want to twirl it around a little bit, oh, there's my buddy Mark.
There he is.
You can move the handle where you like it. It also has a heavy-duty cast iron grate. Now, we're not big fans of cast iron grates, but that's what it's got.
You're not a fan of cast iron grates in general, or raw cast iron?
No, well, it's coated cast iron.
Okay.
So yeah, we definitely don't like uncoated cast iron. You can see it there, but it is hinged on both sides, just like a Weber hinged chrome plated grate, so you can add charcoal to it. But the thing that's neat about it, oh, there's the swivel, is you can adjust the height of the grate, and you can it's a 3-level adjustment, so you can bring that thing down right on top of the red hot charcoal. I think he's going to do that now. Let's never mind.
Hold on.
Anyway, it's nice. You know, there's not a lot of really high quality charcoal grill options out there, so when I see one, I'm all over it, buddy.
And they're fairly available here in the States, or are you going to like a specialty or a mom and pop fireplace and barbecue store to carry Napoleon lines. You don't see them in Best Buy, or not Best Buy, but Home Depot or something like that.
And stuff. I don't think you're seeing much Napoleon yet. You can order them on the websites, on like Home Depot's website. I believe they're making inroads into that. Broil King kind of paved the way on that. These are all Canadian companies: Napoleon, Broil King, and all the various Broil King brands. Many people, when Broil King said, "Oh, we're going into Lowe's," and they're on the showroom floors, Broil King, you're cheapening your brand, and Broil King goes, "No, we're getting more exposure." I liked what they did. I thought it was a good idea, and I think it's worked out well for them. Now Napoleon seems to be dipping their toes into it a bit too.
All right, so last but not least, Best Value Gas Grill. This one is the second year on the Amazing Ribs list. It's the Sabre 500 Cast Black, $1,100 list.
Sabre is owned by Charbroil, and anybody who knows about the Charbroil True Infrared systems will recognize this. It's very similar, only Sabre is much more high quality than any Charbroil products. But they employ essentially the same idea to create an infrared heat environment, and that is they have a burner underneath a metal plate, and the grate rests right on top of the metal plate. Now, they build this, rightfully so. I've seen billboards up this year about it too. The most forgiving gas grill in the world, or in so many words. It is very forgiving. The reason why is that you can get a super hot sear out of this thing. One of the things that it has that the Charbroil True Infrareds don't have is each burner is cradled in a metal enclosure, basically, to give you better zone control. So you can set up two zones more effectively. But moreover, it pretty much eliminates convection heat, or reduces it to such a degree that what you'll experience from that is convection heat dries out foods. You will get moist, juicy foods. You'll get them cooked properly. If you want to super sear them, this thing will out-sear many gas grills in this price range. And they're very well made as well.
Max, from a put-together standpoint, do these grills typically show up to you completely unassembled by request? Or are you requesting that if you're going to get one sent to you, that you get it sent to you where you have to assemble it in order to do some type of a full assembly evaluation as well?
Yes, I always ask that they be sent in retail packaging, or however they would be sent to a customer. Some of the luxury grills are sent almost fully assembled, but a grill like this is sent in a box. And I want to do that because I learn a lot about a grill when I put it together, a grill or a smoker. You know, holding the parts in my hands, the fasteners and what have you, you get a sense for how well it's made and how well it's designed.
Has there been any that stand out to you as being incredibly hard to put together, and also couple that with bad direction? Because I've always maintained that the key to my fortune will be putting together well-text directions in a very lame... I figure if I can put something together, anybody else in the whole world can put it together. But I would write it in such a fashion that would seem very straightforward and obvious.
Gosh, you caught me flat-footed there. I mean, there's obviously some are more cryptic to try to decipher the assembly instructions. Some are have the design seems sort of awkward, like you're going, why did they do it like this? And also from a manufacturing standpoint, some of the parts don't fit together very well. You know, you have to sort of coax them into place, if you will, or really stick your hand in an awkward position to get a screw into where it's supposed to be. But I can't think off the top of my head of any examples. Probably that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Max Good joining us here from AmazingRibs.com. He is the keeper of the flame, full-time, testing and assembling and reviewing and rating all these grills and smokers for your pleasure. Max, thank you for coming back on, and we will look for you again next quarter.
My pleasure, Greg. Have a good evening.
You too. There he is, Max Good from AmazingRibs.com.
All guests appear via the Traeger Grills hotline.
And that website one more time, AmazingRibs.com. Again, those products are best combo cooker, the Camp Chef Woodwind Pellet Smoker with Sear Box, $900. The best portable cooker, Can Cooker Original, $90. The best value backyard smoker, the Yoder Loaded Wichita 20-inch for about $1,900. The Napoleon NKC 22CKC, the best value charcoal grill, and the best value gas grill, the Sabre 500 Cast Black, for about $1,100. So there you have it. And again, all of their recommendations, these are merely a sampling of the 2018 Pitmaster list from AmazingRibs.com. So go ahead and check it out. I want to consider joining the Pit Club there if you go as well. It's only $24 for the year, maybe a little less than that. Pretty cool community out there helping everybody out. Sam Hayes coming up out of the break to talk about Myron Mixon cookers. Loaded first hour on cooker reviews. How about Cook Shack? Yeah, man. Cook Shack manufactures smoker ovens for barbecue lovers with any amount of experience, whether you barbecue in the backyard, on the competition circuit, or in a 5-star dining facility. Cook Shack has the unit that will do the job, and with a full line of barbecue sauces, spices, pellets, and wood chunks, it's the perfect one-stop shop. Cook Shack strives to be your barbecue resource center by offering cooking classes, online recipes, how-to videos, 2 blogs, smoking, grilling 101s, and a video cooking classroom. Check out their website at cookshack.com or follow them on the Instagrams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. Get advice and share your passion for barbecue on their world-class barbecue forum. Cook Shack pellet-fired smokers are the choice of champions because they were designed by a champion, Ed Fast Eddie Morin. The FEC 100, PG 1000, always customer favorites. The PG 1000 can actually double as a smoker and grill. Low and slow, hot and fast, the pellet grill line gives you the most for your money. Now, if you're not into pellet poopers, I get it. Cook Shack residential electric smokers, if that's your cup of tea, happen to be the #1 smoker in the industry. High quality means high durability and versatility. Anything you can cook in your oven, you can make in a Cook Shack. Passion, dedication drives Cook Shack's manufacturing, with quality always being the top priority. Get the best in barbecue since 1962. Call 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698 or visit cookshack.com. Sam Hayes from Sam's Northwest Barbecue Company coming up out of the break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Ready to get on the air? Call 216-220-0966. Now, let's get back to the LeBron James of barbecue talk. Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your #1 source for quality wood pellets for all of your pellet-driven cookers. To purchase, you can buy CookinPellets.com, or you can visit CookinPellets.com, COOKIN, CookinPellets.com. Or, if you would prefer to purchase off of some major online retailer, how about Amazon.com? Does that work for you? Sure. Also, go to CookinPellets.com to check out all of their flavor varieties. The traditional stuff, of course, but also outside of the box flavors that you're going to want to check out. CookinPellets.com. Hey, my next guest shows up here once a quarter, owns one of the most successful independent barbecue and grill shops, not only in his region, but dare I say, across the country. So let's go ahead and race to the Traeger Grills hotline and welcome back Sam Hayes to the show. Sam, how are you, buddy?
I'm great. How you doing, Greg?
Absolutely fabulous, Sam. Appreciate you making time for the show here. Now, look, you're a professed Browns fan. That's the NFL team, if we can say it. Are you feeling very well about the impending season here? Baker Mayfield is a quarterback. We've picked up some offense, some defense. Are you going to be a optimistic Browns fan? Are you a myopic Browns fan, regardless of the roster? You think that it's going to be the year? Where are you sitting right now?
I'm looking forward to preseason, and that's about it.
Wow, really?
We maybe 1 or 2 wins there. It's brutal. I take a beating basically every day of my life being a Browns fan.
Do you think it's going to be a 1 to 3 win or a 3 or less win season? I think it's 1 or less myself.
It's either going to be real bad, or if we were to hit that 3 or 4, that would that would be a major improvement, I think.
Which is sad to say, right? I mean, you go from 0 to 3 or 4, but it's still really just 3 or 4 wins and like 11 or 12 losses.
Yeah, it's horrible no matter how you look at it. It's when's the next basketball season start? Makes you wonder.
Sam, when's the draft? Can't wait. That's the Brown Super Bowl is the next year's draft. Anyway, so I think we did a great intro segment with you a few months back. Got a unique story of how you turned that barbershop trade to a barbecue and grilling retailer extraordinaire business, and now we can really focus on some of the lines that you carry and get some real-life feedback and insight from someone who is in this business every day. And tonight I thought we would start with the Myron Mixon line of smokers. So first off, when were you made aware of this line? How does the relationship start? Were you did you approach? Did they approach you? How does that whole thing start off?
Well, obviously we all know who Myron Mixon is, or you wouldn't be listening to this show. It's a deal where David Mixon is Myron's oldest son, and he's the sales manager at Myron Mixon Smokers. And he approached me probably 2.5 years ago. And at the time, I was just getting ready to relocate to a larger location. And I kind of thought, hey, let's put this on hold until I get up to the new store and see what we got space-wise. Got up here and just started tackling, getting the business growing and all the headaches that are associated with moving. So some time went by, and, probably 2 years. David approached me near the end of last year, and he just gotten done with some projects, and he said, one thing big on my list at the end of the year, he says, we got to get you on board. And he says, how are we going to do this? So we probably spent the next 5 or 6 weeks going back and forth, and I wanted to make sure that it was a good fit for my store, as well as me and my store being a good fit for those folks, because whatever a person feels about Myron Mixon, the man has worked really hard for his brand and to get it where it is, and it's important to me, and I wanted them to know that if we were going to bring it in, that it's almost as if I'm back there in Connecticut at the factory, that they got a representation out here on the West Coast that's going to do it the right way, and it gave me some time to evaluate their business a little more as well. So we kind of picked the end of the year there, and we got going, and it's been fantastic so far. So the timing just, I think, was better, and I also think that some of the products, they've had more time to produce those products and get more feedback. So for me, I think it all just worked out in a natural timeline.
Do you look at what you're currently retailing in the shop and try not to have competing products, or does that not necessarily always fit a bill with you? You'd like to have some similar cookers that might be a little bit different in price point, or how somebody might be cooking on it, so you have some different options to give to an end user.
Yeah, all these different regions, barbecue sells and what's hot and all that, I know, can be quite different. For example, here I did have like with the Myron Mixon gravity-fed cookers, I did have a line of insulated box cookers that are made here in Oregon, Faces Barbecue. And then I brought in, about 1.5 years ago, when I brought in the Meadow Creek line, they have their BX 50 and 25 series. So I already had that, and those have some water to them. I didn't have a true gravity fed. I had, you hear about stumps, and you hear about out here, there's a few guys that cook with the Assassins. And so the gravity fed always kind of interested me. I'd never cooked on one. And that's the first thing I broke out on that first order from the Myron Mixon Smokers. But the fact that they had both the H2O, which was kind of unknown to me, and quite honestly, up till about 3 weeks ago when I was at the Myron Mixon facility, as far as actually seeing it ran in a proper setting. I mean, Myron's his cook team, about half the team was actually there. So I saw it ran how they do when they're out competing. And so some of these items are a little similar, but yet they're quite different. And also at some price points.
Sam Hayes joining me here on the show. Sam's Northwest Barbecue Company. Sam's NWBBQCO.com is his website. Sam, let's talk about that trip that you took out to the manufacturing facility in Connecticut. You said it was a couple of weeks ago. So what were you looking to get out of it? Obviously, you want to see that the place is existing in real life and that there's real people doing all this stuff. But were there other key things that you were looking to learn while you was out there?
Well, back in March at the HPBA in Nashville, of course, met up with Myron and David, and Myron's partner in this whole thing is a man named Rob Morelli, and he's the founder and the CEO of Seacon Fabrication. And that friendship that him and Myron developed, several years prior is what created Myron Mixon Smokers. So meeting Rob was just as I don't know, detrimental, I guess, to me wanting to get out there and see that factory. I mean, a great man in the metal fabrication business, and obviously, Myron's pedigree with barbecue, we don't even need to discuss. But getting out there, we discussed it back then, and then they decided not a lot of manufacturers do this. I've had a couple that have, but they decided to have a dealer day, and it was kind of an impromptu, maybe 6 weeks prior. Hey, any dealers, we're going to fly you out here. We're going to take care of you. And opportunity to see the facility, and then also go through the 3-day Myron Mixon Cook School, which, he hosts that at his residence there in Georgia. And then he does this. This was the third year he'd done this at the factory. So to be able to leave this time of year, this is the busiest month of my year. It wasn't easy to say, all right, I'm going to go do that. But the fact they were willing to put that commitment in me, I'd been to a few different manufacturers' factories, but never in the hotbed of the season. Out here in Oregon, which I know all your listeners look at, is the hotbed of barbecue. But right. My busiest 3 months of the year, generally April, May, and June. So, but getting out there, once I decided to do it, outside of the whole traveling aspect and hitting to the East Coast and losing some sleep and all that, it was fantastic. The dealer day was great. There's a lot of new things coming out, Myron Mixon, that be here in the fourth quarter that are going to be, I think, game players in the barbecue world and more the mainstream backyard person as well. But we spent a full day, just business, just dealers, Myron and the Myron Mixon Smoker team. We spent probably 2 hours at the factory, and that was an absolutely incredible experience. And we had a nice lunch together, and the team put us up for a really nice, enjoyable, expensive dinner that evening. So they took care of us great. And this was just one enjoyable long day leading in, to who wouldn't want to go to the Myron Mixon Cook School? So it was a fantastic day, and everything included there, so that was my main reason for getting out there. I don't mean to ramble here, but at that factory, state of the art, you're not going to find anything that's more up to date right now today in that factory.
From a options standpoint, like what are you carrying in the store right now? Are there flagship models that and water smokers that you're offering, and what are the price points?
Yeah, they're H2O water smoker, which Myron cooks on the they refer to the MMS, the Myron Mixon Smoker. He cooks on the 72, and he likes that size because you can get a 250-pound hog in there. But that's 72. That means 72 inches wide. In my store, I carry the 60, the 48, and the 36. The 60 alone is huge. It weighs 930 pounds. Oh. The 48's 800. The 36 is 670 pounds. So they're on big wheels. They're easy to move, but it's a pretty incredible piece when you just look at that. And the gravity feds, they got 3 basic standard sizes, and I carry those as well in stock. But the water smokers, the smallest size is $39.95. It's basically $1,000 more per foot. So the 48 would be $49.95, and then the 60 is $59.95.
From a firing up standpoint on those water smokers, how do they operate?
What most impressed me is Myron's brother Tracy, who lives beside him, kind of his right-hand man, and mows his yard, proudly says. He's about 4 years younger than Myron. And the cool thing about being around those guys is there's so much admiration between those brothers. And, he works for Myron, and Myron counts on him. Myron counts on a lot of people. But he fired that thing up, used probably 5 pounds of charcoal. We were cooking on a 60, and put about 3 sticks of wood in there. Got it fired up. Generally at competition, they'll fire it up about an hour and a half before. But everything was wide open. There's 2 smokestacks up above, and you got one on each side. Basically, that charcoal is just to get your wood. If you had another way or wanted to use a torch or something to get your wood going, that would be just fine. Basically, a charcoal, it isn't so much like on your traditional offset where you're getting a coal base. With the water smoker, there's 2 things that are 100% necessary. You do have to use water, and you are using sticks. And basically, that water, there's a floater valve like you'd have on a back of a toilet bowl, where you hook up a hose to it. You can set it between either 1.5 inches, 2 inches, or 2.5 inches of water. That's going to provide steam and moisture. There is a little kind of a peak hole. There's a little tube that comes out on the side, so you can see without opening the doors to make sure you have water. So they turn on that hose first thing. It's running water. When it gets water in there, it stops. So, of course, that's the first process. He got the fire going. Everything was wide open. So I wondered at what point his brother Tracy was going to start dialing things down. And they're at least 1 inch thick, the sides and the whole cooker.
Wow.
So what amazed me is we're out there and we're talking fire management, but Myron cooks it between 275 and 300, and there was basically no adjustments made, and that thing just dialed right in. And the thing about that cooker, and Myron's way of cooking, I have other cookers in here. I don't know if I'd necessarily cook them all wide open. But what they try to do is, with their fire management, is the most important thing about that. And Myron's a fantastic cook. I didn't know between you and I if he was, and else listen, if he was gonna, hey, I just grabbed this piece of meat, and all this knowledge. No, he's using the thermal pin. He's checking instant reads. With all of his knowledge, he's not taking advantage of those technology things. But that fire's running wide open, and it's you as the pit master. He says, what's the next stick that's going on there? You might put a stick on every 25 minutes. He says, you want to sit back and load it up and drink beer all day? He says, sit back and drink some beer,
Yeah.
He says, well, I'll enjoy that. But he says, first off, he doesn't want to be cooking, 12 hours, 15 hours, 18. He's cooking, most of all of his food items are done in 6 hours or less, and that's when you're eating with a rest period.
So from a heat control standpoint, would you use less wood or more wood in order to raise the temperature, or are you pretty much, you just run it and it's going to float around that 275 to 300 no matter what you're doing?
You're going to continue to add, but you're going to add more often than what I've done on a traditional offset smoker. So again, Myron wants the cleanest burning fire, and you're getting a little contrast to that thin fine blue. Obviously, you're not going to cook with wood on any cooker and not get that wood flavor into your food. But his whole thing is he wants to run with the cleanest fire he can. And in doing so, him and his team, they've mastered the art of making sure you're putting the next size stick in. So like here at my store, I sell bags of cooking wood and splits. There isn't too many pieces in here that you're going to put in that cooker to run it that cleanly. So basically in a split stick, they probably would have that cut in 3 different dimensions, and they have stacks of wood at different sizes like that. So it's up to you to monitor this in a more regular basis and become a better pit master. He said, again, if you want to just fill her up and walk away, that's not his way of cooking. I'm sure that food's still going to taste all right, but my first impression from the fire up of that smoker was that they've got heat management and control down to a T, and this is before we've ever even touched a protein or got into the meat part of it. Here at the stores, people, especially with the wood pits, fire management is huge. It's something that they'll go out and they've never cooked on an offset. They'll get a couple briskets. They've never cooked a brisket. They have no idea about maybe some shrinkage or how much food you're going to have to feed people. And by golly, we're having a party this weekend, and everybody's showing up, and we're eating at 5, and they have no idea about any of it.
Right.
And sometimes as they're walking out the door, they'll say, "You got any suggestions?" And I say, "Man, have fun and tell me all about it next time you're in." But it's that knowledge and experience. It was just amazing that I've never seen an item cooked wide open again, and a lot of it has to do with their skills, but also those cookers, just what they're made out of and put together. And with that water technology, that's the reason he likes that. I have people in the store and they wonder if you're steaming your meat. Well, what it's doing is it's eliminating any hot spot. So these flat rack cookers that he prefers, you're the same temperature left to right, top to bottom. So you're able to utilize all that space. And that's why he prefers this style of a cooker, is because it's the most square inches you're going to get in there space-wise.
Sam Hayes joining me here on the show. Again, the website, Sam's NWBBQCO, Sam's Northwest Barbecue Company. .com, the phone number, by the way, 503-822-5631. That's your store number, right?
Correct.
Okay, I didn't want to give away your cell phone, but I guess it's too late for that. 503-822-5631 if you want to give Sam a call. And we're talking about the Myron Mixon Smokers. Sam, always appreciate the time, and we will look for you again next quarter.
Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Greg. Have a good evening.
You got it. There he is, Sam Hayes. Browns fan.
All guests appear via the Traeger Grills hotline. Yummy.
Does anybody really admit that they're a Browns fan? Sam Hayes does. One day I'll get this screen thing worked out too. Currently, to my right, no neighbor Desmond. He said he was coming over tonight. Currently a liar. Nevertheless, let me talk to you quickly about the Barbecue Guru. Always believing that outdoor cooking should be easy, because it can be, especially with the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition Grill. The Monolith, the world's first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. This means smarter control, greater freedom with automatic temperature control. Easily choose your cooking time and temperature and let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or barbecue pitmaster. With minimal effort, you now have oven-like precision at the grill, and you can serve the tastiest, juiciest of meals each and every time. You call 800-288-GURU and ask all your questions, or you visit the website, bbqguru.com. That's bbqguru.com. If you have the Monolith and you have already owned a temperature controller, you don't need to buy a new one to operate it. Just hook that controller to the fan that's built into the Monolith, and you're off and rocking. bbqguru.com, 800-288-GURU. We're back right after this to wrap the first hour.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
Welcome back. This segment brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via the Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck, because Fireboard fully integrated with both. Just ask your particular smart assistant to check your meat temperature, or increase the temperature, or check probe number 7, whatever you want. Always adding new skills each and every day. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. Thanks again to Sam Hayes from Sam's Northwest Barbecue Company. Now, he doesn't sell online, so if you're on your way out to the Pacific Northwest, or you feel like you really want to do business and you're able to make that drive out to hook up with Sam, no problem. He's happy to do that. But no online retailing for Sam. Call, pick his brain, see what he's about. Great guy. Happy to have him as a quarterly guest right here on this show. All right, we're going to step away and reload for the second hour. The Embedded Correspondents Segment will take place at 10:14 and 10:35, where a bunch of us get together and start sharing random barbecue topics. We'll take your phone calls and emails, 216-220-0966. If you want to call in and win a $50 gift certificate from BJ's Restaurant Brewhouse, hit me up right now. First one in wins. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Helen Paradise from SoCal, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet or wiener. Oh, listen, Libertius, shake your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
Welcome to the second hour, everybody. Welcome aboard. You found the Barbecue Central show. We talk about a lot of barbecue and grilling stuff weekly. We do it live.
We'll do it live.
Tuesdays from 9 to 11. So if you never do that, and you're not doing anything next Tuesday between 9 and 11, hit up the website for your viewing and listening options, and then take in the show live as it happens. While the show is happening live, I'm also recording. So you can subscribe to the show via podcast. We're nearing the end of the iTunes fiasco. If you are subscribed to the show, the fiasco doesn't really pertain to you, but if you're a new fan and you tripped over the live feed or on Facebook or YouTube and you're looking to subscribe to the show, use every other podcast platform except iTunes right now, because you can't find the show on iTunes. You can get some random old tunes and shows from like April and beyond, but the show does not come up under podcast for you to subscribe to, because HostGator is jamming me up and they are not supporting me, and eventually I will leave and go to Blueberry because I'm a man.
I'm a man! I'm 40!
I'll do what I want. By the way, 43 going to be 44 in a few short weeks. Hoping to get it ironed out here in the next 3 to 4 weeks maximum. But remember, I did the huge server switch 2 months ago, maybe less than that. Maybe it was 3 months ago. Around about the time I was getting these cool barbecue shirts and retailing them out to the general public. But that something has happened between then and now where you're not allowed to see the show. Not only are you not allowed to see it, you just can't subscribe to it. It comes up as not available in the Apple Store. So we're getting that rectified. I am aware of it. In lieu of that, go to Stitcher or iHeart or download some third-party podcast app. You can do that on iTunes as well. If you didn't know and you're an Android fan, there's a brand new Google Podcast app that's totally native. It feels and looks just like iTunes, although I'm sure iTunes does not allow you to get the Google Podcast app for your iTunes or your iPhone, although I don't know about that for sure. Maybe somebody can alert me to that. I can look on my own Apple device, except it's upstairs. But you can download the Google Podcast. It's called Google Podcast. Search for it. Get that app, and you're all set. It's going to be great. I've already done it. I'm telling you, Google's going to own the podcast market here very shortly. Mark my words. Again, still to come on this show in about 10 minutes from now, starting the Embedded Correspondents segment. So we're looking forward to that. Doug Scheiding, Steve Ray, David Huff, Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma represented as usual. So look, I want to bring this up because, you know, certain things stick with me. For instance, the Hall of Fame, the Barbecue Hall of Fame. Guy Fieri being in the Barbecue Hall of Fame. People in England bringing in their charcoal grills into their homes, lighting them, and then letting them burn as a heat source, inevitably killing everybody in the house, or at least making them very sick from carbon monoxide poisoning. Well, I think I can add a new one to the list, and it's probably not going to come as a surprise. That's right, I said it is not going...
Andrew, you are not the fire.
It's not going to come as a surprise. It's what I'm now calling the food abomination of 2018. Let's start a hashtag right now. Hashtag cook my steak right. You know, I truly believe that the undercooking of your and my steak has now reached epidemic proportions. And I am now, once again, calling on the Centralites to help build a movement against. So here's what I want you to do. It's going to sound crazy. John Dawson's idea last 2 weeks ago, maybe. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense to me. And now I am disseminating the directives to the Centralite Army. I want you to arm yourselves with the instant read meat thermometers that I know you have. The Thermopens, the Taylors, the AmazingRib.com, the Stephen Reichlin Instant Reads, all that stuff. Check and calibrate in both freezing water and boiling water. Remember, boiling water is 212, so make your adjustments from there. Once calibrated, go to a restaurant where you know you will order a steak. Now, I am not going to make a mandate that you race down to the nearest prime steakhouse in whatever town you live in. Luckily, here in Cleveland, I have any number of prime steakhouses to take advantage of. The likes of XO, Red, Morton's, Hyde Park, and the list goes on. Fleming's, Lola, Greenhouse Tavern. Can I think of any more? Not at the moment. Plenty. But take it to a restaurant. Now, if you have prime steakhouse access and you feel like doling out, please do it. But go to the restaurant, take the thermometer with you. Order the steak however you want. Nay, I'm asking you, and some of you, it will be under protest, and I'm asking you with peace and love. Order the steak medium temperature. Resist feeling dirty inside or getting casting looks from your server. Again, please do this on behalf of me. Take that thermometer, order the steak medium, and when the steak hits the table, produce the thermometer and temp it. Now, I can't sit here and tell you what medium temperature is right off the top of my head. It's probably in that 140 range, maybe 145. I think Chef Medium Rare is 135, so, probably 140, 145. Temp it. Extra credit points if you snap a picture of you temping the steak in the restaurant. And then we will start compiling a working list of restaurants that hit or miss. Kind of like the unofficial AmazingRibs.com Pitmaster list of 2018. But instead of cookers and grills and smokers, this one is for steaks. Who's in? Who can I count on? Who will be the first one to hit up a steakhouse, independently owned chain, top end and or otherwise? Bring your thermometer, calibrated. Order that steak, medium, with peace and love. And then as soon as that steak hits the table, temp it. Now, honestly, I'm really not overly concerned if that thing comes out a shade overdone, because that's not what I'm looking to expose. I mean, certainly we can expose it as a miscook, but you can send that back and they'll recook the whole steak. What I'm trying to confirm on the exposure is the intentional undercooking of the steak. Again, hashtag cook my steak right. And now we can start to compile a firm list, a confirmed list of joints that you have been to, that you have temped. Extra credit for those taking pictures. And I will start making a list right on the website. It's going to be great. Again, this is something that needs to be derailed immediately, the undercooking of steaks. There is technology out there that will fix it instantly. It's called a thermometer. We're bringing them into your restaurants and temping your steaks for you. Let's get on it. Send me pics and reviews as they happen. I will start compiling a list. It's going to be great. Again, the embedded correspondence coming up here in just a few short minutes. I was just sent this. Hot dog water, the new coconut water. What? This from metafilter.com. Someone sold hot dog water for $28 at a festival. Literal bottles of water containing a single hot dog each were sold at the Car Free Day Festival in Vancouver. Vancouver?
Get that big stuff out of here.
But there's the not-so-fine print. It's all fake. As Global News reported, hot dog water is really a stunt by artist and tour operator Doug Bevins. How gullible people can be about unsubstantiated health claims. It's really sort of a commentary on product marketing and especially sort of health quackery product marketing, Doug told Global News. It even says as much in the hot dog water fine print, which reads, hot dog water is absurdity hopes. Hot dog water in its absurdity hopes to encourage critical thinking related to product marketing and the significant role it can play in our purchasing choices. So wait a second. Are you telling me hot dog water is not the new coconut water?
You are not the fire.
You gotta be kidding. Hook, line, and sinker, I fell for it. What I'm not falling for is Green Mountain Grills because I love them. I cook with them. I own two sizes. The Jim Bowie, the big dog, the Daniel Boone, the medium size. I do not have a Davy Crockett, but I will probably get one of those at some point. The Davy Crockett, by the way, when we were talking about portable cookers with Max Good, that's also on the 2018 list. So if you're looking for a great portable grill that you're not really sacrificing quantity versus quality, you want that pellet-driven cooker to take along with you, Davy Crockett's the one you're going to want to use. Plus, you don't have to worry about not having access to a traditional outlet in order to get it running. You can stick it right in the 12-volt outlet of your truck, van, SUV. Very easy. And again, great capacity for the portability purpose. Now, if you want something a little bit more substantial to put in your patio, backyard, what have you, the Daniel Boone and the Jim Bowie are the ones that you want to use. Jim Bowie can house many, many racks of ribs, at least 2, maybe 3 full packers, 6 pork butts, depending if you pan or not. Davy Crockett, a little less than that because it is a little less in size. You can also get a bunch of really cool accessories from Green Mountain Grills, additional cooking racks. You can get the pellets because they also provide those, rubs and sauces. Of course, my favorite accessory, especially if you own the Jim Bowie and the Daniel Boone, is the pizza insert. Rip out the guts of those cookers and then put this pizza insert to work. Thin crust, that's the way I like it. 2 to 3 minutes, that pizza's ready to come out. In lieu of traditional dough, if you can get the large pitas at most of your local grocery store chains, those work out really well. You know, minute tops. Set that cooker at 350 degrees. That's about 700 degrees in the stone, and you're off and running. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. Chasing Jason Baker for an interview here shortly as well. So stay tuned for future shows. Hashtag cook my steak right. We'll be talking about that in the next segment as well. Stick around. We'll be right back for the Embedded Correspondence.
the only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, smoking with Smithfield Committed Cooks. May I have your attention? Make sure you head to smokingwithsmithfield.com and report your first place wins to claim your prizes. Have you registered to compete in the American Royal Pork Loin Ancillary category? Smithfield increased the prize purse to $6,000. Make sure you sign up the American Royal site today. Also, don't forget to sign up for the Smithfield Classic, which will be in Richmond, Virginia, a Commonwealth, September 29th. To sign up, reach out to Jesse at Big Papa Smokers, Jessie, Jessie, at BigPapaSmokers.com, and tell her you are so excited to sign up for the Smithfield Classic. All right, it is the monthly get-together with my three favorite dudes. That sounds weird to say up loud. The embedded correspondents, Steve Ray, Doug Scheiding, and David Huff, joining me right here on the show. Gentlemen, always appreciate the time here. Hold on a second. Everybody's promoting. Let me get the pictures up here. All right, so what do you got, David?
This is a new flavor of Crown Royal Texas Mesquite. And you can really taste the smoke. It's kind of nice. It knocks out all the sweetness in mixed drinks. It's pretty good. And funny thing is, my buddies can't get it in Texas, Doug. You got to come to Oklahoma to get Crown Texas Mesquite.
Doug, let me ask you, or I'm sorry, David, let me ask you a quick question. Can you place that wood as mesquite, or does it really just have a overall woody profile?
You can actually taste it as mesquite. To me, mesquite has that pretty pungent flavor, different than hickory. You can actually taste it in there. There's a recipe on the back for a mesquite mule, ginger beer, Texas whiskey, mesquite whiskey, and lemon. It's pretty good.
Steve, what were you showing?
My Thermopen.
Oh, look at you! Like it.
I'm ready. You know, Vincent and I are J. Alexander fans. We've got one here in Chattanooga, publicly traded company, $11 a share, 43 units, and next week we're going to Thermopen the prime rib just for you.
All right. Well, I mean, I know you're a high-level cook, Steve, so I don't really question your authority on doneness, but we'll get into the temping here in a little bit if time allows. So here's what happens. We do this embedded correspondence segment once a month. The panel derives some takes and opinions about certain things, and we go around the panel and give our own opinions after the first opinion is laid down. So we will go back to Ooltewah, Tennessee, and talk to Steve Ray, who was part of a very, from what I understand, successful weekend with your, was it the barbecue brawl or barbecue battle that you had out there?
The Ooltewah Barbecue Brawl, our second one. It was a scheduled 5-hour event. Unfortunately, the 70-mile-an-hour winds that hit us at 2 o'clock cut it to 3 hours. There was not a pop-up survivor. I swear to God, I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Wow, mass casualties.
It was incredible. I mean, it just came out of nowhere, and it was like the hand of God just went, whoa, no more.
It's called the daily forecast in Oklahoma, Steve.
Well, we've had our 5th day in a row of afternoon storms. We had one Saturday in Ooltewah. Sundays was worse. And then we had one yesterday, and today one just rolled through. So it's just crazy.
All right,
just
Steve.
Absolutely crazy.
There's nothing we can do about the weather, but we can talk barbecue and grilling here once a month with you guys. So what do you have on your mind?
Hey, I have been following the National Barbecue League since they announced that they were going to form this tournament inside of the KCBS Team of the Year race.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you guys have been following it, but I tell you what, they have done just a fantastic job of keeping people up to date of where they are, posting videos of how to trim a brisket, trim a pork butt, season and control your meat, And they put out a video just this week called Barbecue Life, Episode 1. And if anybody out there is not a competition cook and you want to see how these guys are upper echelon, if you want to see how the upper echelon barbecue cooks in this country do it, watch that video. It is professionally done. It's not real hokey. There's a couple of drinking scenes, when everybody gets together and toast that, and I can do without that. But these guys, they just do a great job. And I'm gonna just say this: the standings up till right now, our Clark Crew Barbecue is in first place, and that's weird. And I'm gonna tell you that, and I'm gonna tell you the reason that's weird. In just a moment. Getting Basted second, Shake and Bake is third, Slaps Barbecue, Joe Pierce, my favorites, is fourth, Iowa Smoky D's fifth, sixth, Lucky Q, Dirt Road seventh, Fergalicious eighth, Porky Butts ninth, and Old Virginia Smoke 10th. And if you're wondering, Doug, and I can see it in your face, 5 teams are in the top 10 of the KCBS Team of the Year. 7 of the teams are in the KCBS Team of the Year in the top 20. Now, and Greg, last week you spoke of our good friend David Bosca, who got his 7th GC.
Right.
He's automatic to the Jack. Clark Crew Barbecue got his 7th GC at the last National Barbecue League contest. 4th year in a row. 4th year in a row. He's going to the Jack with 7 GCs under his belt for the automatic beer, for the automatic draw, rather. Tim Shear's done a video on that on the Facebook page. How to trim a competition pork. Travis Clark did a brisket trim. Joe Pierce did a brisket trim that is just incredible. If you're like me, you struggle with burnt ends, watch Joe Pierce's video about burnt ends. He makes it so simple. Justin McGaughan did a brisket wrap recipe, what he puts in his brisket when he gets ready to put it back on the smoker when he wraps it. There are chicken recipes, rib recipes. These are secrets that I know I have paid over $1,500 since I started my barbecue journey 5 years ago to go to schools and see this. They are putting it on Facebook for absolutely free, and you can go to it. And I just want to say that it is so interesting what these guys have done. I think myself that it is a start to something that's going to get bigger, as if they can keep the momentum going, if they keep their interest in it, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And right before I go to you, Doug, just a second, I want to say congratulations to Jeff and Cindy Thompson right up the road in near Oak Ridge in Kingston, Tennessee. They got their first GC after cooking for 5 years, and it was almost a year to the date that they got it at the Blount County Bash in Maryville, Tennessee. That was the first KCBS professional contest that Jeff and Cindy cooked, and last weekend they got the GC almost 5 years today. Isn't that weird? I think that's pretty cool.
That's nice.
And I want to congratulate in our contest, Utah Barbecue Brawl. We had Lamar Young was the People's Choice Champion, and Sean Cosby was the Judges Ribs Championship. So I'm going to tell you something, folks.
Nice.
We don't talk about it that much. Competition barbecue is alive and well at all kinds of level, and I encourage you to go out and find it. And of course, who's leading the KCBS Team of the Year race is Boomerang Barbecue from. That's your cue, Doug. From
Lubbock, Texas.
There you go. How interesting is that? I will.
All right. So Steve says that competition barbecue is alive and well. I'm going to disagree with that, but we'll go to David Huff. Do you agree? And what do you think about the National Barbecue League? Steve is obviously a big fan. Did a lot of reporting there on the goings-on, free videos, all that stuff. What's your take on the National Barbecue League and how they're fitting into competition barbecue?
I like free videos on an embedded correspondent salary. Free videos is just awesome. So I can afford that.
Kidding me? You think I'm going to pay for this content? Go ahead.
I also like Steve's patriotic shirt. Way to go, getting ready for the 4th of July. I saw the video, Steve, that you sent. I got to disagree. I actually liked the part where they were taking the drink in the morning, and I think it just shows the camaraderie of the competition barbecue. I like that it wasn't all serious all the time. I especially like the guy where he was standing over there saying, kind of helps if you keep the vents open if you don't want your fire to go out. I thought that was priceless. So
that was funny.
A very well done video. I really liked how it showed the turn-in boxes. It showed a lot of things that people go through that you're right. If you've never participated in competition barbecue, never been to an event, or don't know somebody, you have no idea what they go through, the timing, the boxes, the preparation. And these guys aren't just throwing some chicken in the box. They're sampling pieces. They're looking for the perfect shape. They're looking for the color. And that's just one category. So I think it would really be great for the general public to see that, to open up the eyes of what these cooks go through. As far as competition barbecue being alive and well, I kind of am on Greg's side. I've heard so many people continue to complain about the prize money not being worth it, the sponsorships and some teams getting an unfair advantage. Not to go back to the same cliche we've been talking about, but the NASCAR attitude around competition barbecue, I think people are becoming disenfranchised with it a little bit and wanting to just, I don't think as many people are migrating that way as it would have been, say, 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Let's go to Doug Scheiding here. Your take on, in no particular order, the state of competition barbecue, because obviously you're a renowned world champion pitmaster, but also the National Barbecue League itself, and if you think it's generating good stuff, or if you're indifferent, or what?
I'll answer the National Barbecue League first. Truthfully, I hadn't even thought about it in months or weeks. It's been a long time until Steve brought it up. Maybe it was the last time I went out and watched a few videos. The videos are very, very neat. They're cool. My take on it from the get-go is that this is made for TV. They need to hire John Marcus or somebody like that, because this will be much more interesting than even the first season of Pitmasters, where they followed a few people around, because these people are actually going to win. If they're in the top 5 of the top 10, they're actually going to get their numbers called instead of finishing 48th and 57th, and like it was on TV. So this seems like it would be a perfect venue to have a TV type thing.
Doug, let me interrupt you just for 1 second.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But how are the personalities? See, I will maintain that even though Harry Sue and Gary Notley and the what's her name, Leanne Whippen, throw anybody you want in there. If they're finishing at the bottom of the pack, if they have compelling story, I don't think anybody gives a crap about deadliest catch, that they're catching fish. It's kind of exciting. You see the waves crash over. There's an element of death that people love to watch. But they're watching the interactions between crew members and between the skipper and the least experienced person on the ship. And I would maintain that in season 1, if it stayed together, you would be more invested in the relationships that they have and what's happening at home and all this other stuff that people really want to know about and can invest in, versus are they winning or not. If they win, hey, great, extra bonus this show. But if not, let's see if, Johnny and Trixie are going to fight on the way home. I don't mean I'm using Johnny as a general name, peace and love.
Sure you are.
But I think that's what people want to see. So, sorry to barge in there, but what do you think about that?
Well, no, I thought the video, what it was, a 17-minute video, throw a few commercials in there, and it's a 30-minute show. Mm-hmm. And I think it easily could have been a show. And so I just think it's made for TV, because
I agree.
Yeah, I think, I actually hated that about the original Barbecue Pitmasters, is that, they sucked this weekend and no one really even finished in the top 10. So I want to see them do well, and it'll actually probably increase the interest in barbecue competitions. Because I agree, I think barbecue competitions are starting to get to decrease at least in Texas. And that's another thing with the National Barbecue League. It's not publicized down here. There's no Texas teams. There's really no Texas events. So why do we pay too much attention to it? It's all KCBS 24/7, 365. So having said that, in Texas, I would say that the number of teams cooking has decreased. Obviously, we don't cook in the summer, or at least most of us don't, except Fred, who's chasing the 7 like Dave and others. But he's at 5 right now, so he's chasing the 7 so he could qualify again. So I think competition barbecue is a little bit at a crossroads. More and more, you see a lot of people selling their big rigs. I mean, are y'all seeing this, that, there's a lot of big rigs for sale and people are downsizing and things like that? Yeah. I don't know if it's money. I don't know if it's they want to control things more. And truthfully, I'm seeing a lot more pellet cookers in Texas.
Yep, for sure. I think I've seen a lot of rigs for sale. A lot of them on the highway. I mean, they're still too expensive for me to afford, but a lot of rigs for sale. Just real quickly, I was going to say that video, it had the feel of the documentary HBO does, the Hard Knocks training camp. That I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that video had the feel of that, where it was just going around and seeing a little piece of different people's lives in the barbecue competition circuit. I thought it was really well done.
Real quickly, I think John Marcus even said on your show, Greg, that the problem with season 1 of Barbecue Pitmasters was that there was no winner, and people, when they talked to them about it, they didn't understand it because they didn't win every week, and that's why they had to change the format to go to a winning. You had to have a winner, and that's why it morphed into what it did. I think this, like Doug said, that these guys do win, and it showed that at the end, at the awards ceremony, it showed them winning the tournament or coming in top 10. Showing that, hey, these guys are good, and they do take home the money and the trophies.
I'm going to be a little contrarian here. I think that the popularity of competition barbecue is down. If you look especially at the KCBS, you can see there's been a lot of contrition as it relates to overall contest. I believe they would try and spin it and say that internationally it's growing. That's fine, but who cares about international people? This is America, goddammit, and this is what we're focused on. And also, I think you would find if you took a poll of competitors right now, if they had money to spend, they might choose to spend it in different ways, where 3 and 4 and 5 years ago they would be pooling all of their cash to go and do as many barbecue contests as they could possibly fit into a calendar year as it makes sense to their budget. But I agree with David, the payouts are continuing to be about the same. Certainly there's some other ones that have been introduced. World Food Championships a little bit different. I think there's some Ronnie Cates events that are still up there. There's a small smattering of ones that are $50,000 and $75,000 and $100,000, but not enough on the regular basis to sit there and continue to attract people. They're going to be spending $1,200 and $1,300 and $1,400 to maybe get back $300 or $400. I mean, what kind of business model is that? It sucks, and I get it. This is your hobby. So I think maybe that's where a delineator needs to be made. It's a hobby. Don't get in it to make money. Don't get in it to be famous. Just do it because you like it, and you're going to spend this money instead on barbecue because you're not going to be doing it to fish, because I'm sure a lot of people that are really into fishing spend a lot of money on poles and lures and stupid vests. The other thing that I don't get is I'm not sure where the National Barbecue League is going. Like, it's not really the top 10 cooks in KCBS. It's the first 10 that said yes. So if you look back through the ranks of last year and find out where those guys are. Now, did they finish high? Certainly. Do I agree with Doug that if you put this on television, these guys would have a great chance of winning on a television show? Certainly. But as you said, Steve, wouldn't it make sense that the top 10 in this National Barbecue League should also be in the top 10 of KCBS? If these are your premier cookers, they should have a greater percentage in the top 10 than they do. Like maybe 90% of them should be in it. But I just don't understand what they're doing. Like, I almost want to say, are they trying to separate themselves from everybody? Because I think there is a feeling from other teams that, I don't think they're
trying to separate themselves.
My turn to talk, Steve. I think that they're trying to, maybe indirectly, but I think other teams feel like they might feel separated. And to live in my constant contradiction, I think I heard one of those teams say, it's tough being in the NBBQL because I have to cook against these other guys all the time. No names, please, but I know that happened. So, you can't have your cake and eat it too, but I want to get behind it, but I just don't think it's marketed really well. I'm not sure what the end game is. And I guess I want to know what the overall idea here. What are you growing? An elite group? Is it not an elite group? Is it an inclusive group? Are they the best group? We're making really good videos. What are we doing here? Why would you give away all that great knowledge for free when you could be charging for it and making money? And oh, by the way, I know they have sponsors. Do they ever mention any sponsors? I don't think so. Not a lot. And I know some people that pay a decent amount of money who aren't getting a lot of mentions. People bust my balls all the time about being over-sponsored, or that all I do is, it's 118 minutes of ad reads and 2 minutes of show. So
is it about time for a break?
Yes, we're going to have to take that here in just a second. But that's the only thing. I know it sounds like I'm coming down on NBBQL, but I just don't get the direction or what the general idea is here.
Sounds like you should have them on for a segment, Greg.
Maybe I've asked. Steve, do you have any objectory thoughts on that? Do you want to rebut?
Well, I think that what they're trying to do is they're competing against each other, and they think they're the top, and they are the top. All these guys are good.
Sure.
As far as their sponsorships, they had the shirts on. If you watched the video, you saw Porky Butt's shirt. You saw the names of the sponsors there. Just because you don't mention the sponsor doesn't mean they're not there. Yeah. I think what they're doing is they're directing their energy to an audience to pay attention to competition barbecue, and we are the best. I think they've got 10 great teams. Are there some that deserve to be in there? Right. Joe Pierce said he got in there because somebody said no, and he was thrilled to death just to be there. And right now he's sitting in 1, 2, 3, 4th place. So here's a wild card, and he's sitting in 4th place. I think that's exciting. It excites me because I'm excited about barbecue. If you take the time to follow it, it's not going to reach out of the internet and grab you and pull you in. You've got to go find it, and you've got to follow it if you are interested in competition barbecue like I am at all levels, at the high level, at the medium level like I compete at, and at the local level like the events that I put on where they're not professional. Most of them are backyard cooks and restaurant owners, but they still compete, and people come out to watch them. And the last thing they always ask me is, who won? They are interested in it, Greg. They want to know who won. And people are always interested in who won, and these guys are providing that avenue.
All right, so that's the first round of takes here. We're doing the embedded correspondence segment, and now, as everybody would like to bash me, I will step away and do just a brief bit of business here, and I will vocally mention my sponsors, not wear a stupid shirt and hope that everybody can see it. Hey, head on over to BigPapaSmokers.com for all your barbecue needs. That's right, Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. A curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies while you get on the path to better barbecue. And that'll happen in no time. Everything at Big Papa Smokers has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself. Known for the championship rubs and seasonings, they have popular flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, all proven winners on the competition circuit and in backyards. Big Papa's offers 13 perfectly balanced flavors to transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. If you're looking to improve the competition barbecue recipes, you know they've partnered up with Simply Marvelous Barbecue. That's known as the West Coast Offense. You got to check it out today. Now, Big Papa Smokers is also the proud owner of the award-winning Granny's Barbecue Sauce. If you're looking for a new go-to barbecue sauce that will please everyone, Granny's traditional yet powerful flavor will remind you why you fell in love with barbecue in the first place. Find Granny's Barbecue Sauce and other top-rated sauces at BigPapaSmokers.com. And aside from the premium selection of rubs and sauces, Big Papa's also offers the very best pellet charcoal, and wood-fired cookers on the market today. Want a versatile smoker that's easy to use? Check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa Smoker is the exclusive Mac dealer and even offers special packages. Not a fan of pellet smokers? Take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. And if you're a backyard hack like me looking for a durable and versatile grill that will last forever, the M Grill from Texas is just what you need. They're built like tanks. Not sure what kind of grill you need? You really can't go wrong with any grills featured on BigPapaSmokers.com. They have something for every kind of backyard cook. It's clear that Big Papa Smokers is the place to go for all things barbecue. If you have any questions, call them toll-free, 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. The Embedded Correspondents Segment continues right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
All right, back at it with the Embedded Correspondents. Just got done with Steve Ray's take, and we went long on that one, but we're obviously hotly debated. Definitely not mediocre content here this evening, at least in the first segment. I would say above average at best. All right, Doug, let's go ahead and race here, neck of the woods, and hear what you're ready to talk about.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned a couple weeks ago about reading books, and yeah, I don't like to read books. It's because of my attention span. But the one thing I do read now is barbecue books. I used to be wine books. I was on the Wine Society, board of directors, and all that stuff. But so now my obsession is barbecue books. While from the standpoint of Steve watching videos and the NBA, you know, the National Barbecue League and stuff, I'd rather read a good book on barbecue and try to learn some good things so that I can use them in my competition. So when I was in Cabo a couple of weeks ago, read 3 books, and oh yeah, I'm the guy by the pool reading books, and that's to me very relaxing. But anyway, so I haven't read the Crowd Cow book. I know that you had that, and Tuffy's new book, and I want to read one of Adrian Miller's books too. But my top 5 books that I'd like to unveil: the Texas Barbecue Legends and Cookbook by Rob Walsh. Has anyone heard of this? Yep.
Never
heard of this?
Never heard of it. Put it on the screen so everybody can see it.
Yep.
There you go. Legends of Texas Barbecue Cookbook.
Yes, it's great. It actually talks about a lot of the history of Texas barbecue, and you learn about, you know, LBJ, and his pitmaster was Walter Jessen, I think, and he loved to cook in the ground, cooked for 12,000 people, you know, kind of some of the things that Adrian Miller was talking about. So this is fantastic. So being from Texas, I thought that was actually a really good one, and so I read that, and it talks about a lot of the historical South Side market, Greg, that you might be interested in, in blacks and things like that. So it goes into a lot of the history of the slaves coming in and the different types of Texas barbecue, because there are 4 types of Texas barbecue, not just the Central Texas, which gets popularized. So, all right, number 4, Adam Perry Lang. Greg, I think you mentioned Adam Perry Lang. Yep. And I think he was in one of the best moments of barbecue from John. Yep. And this is one. I read this probably a couple years into my barbecue career, and this has a lot of, I'd say, complicated type recipes. And probably my favorite barbecue sauce recipe is from Adam Perry Lang, who's formerly from West Texas and now in New York. So
he's in LA actually.
Oh, is he? Yeah. I thought he had a restaurant in New York. So, okay. America's Best Barbecue.
Wait,
I like this.
Hold on a second, Doug. Did you not know that Adam Perry Lang opened a restaurant in L.A. called APL? Adam Perry Lang, with the whole aged meat thing and his whole thing that he's been showing you on Instagram for the last 6 months.
But I thought his original restaurant was in New York.
Oh, yeah, like Daisy Mays or whatever it was.
Yes, Daisy, yeah, exactly. And he came to some meat stock here in San Antonio, and I think he was associated with a bourbon, Dickel. He was in there in their booth and everything. So, but yeah. Then this one, actually, I met Artie Davis, and have you seen this one, the America's Best Barbecue? And it talks about different restaurants and barbecue joints around. So I actually read this early on in my barbecue career, and it kind of introduced me to different types of barbecue from around the U.S. and et cetera. And so actually the bean recipe, which I used initially and won several awards with, is actually from here, from Black's Barbecue.
Does he talk about how he got his nickname Remus Powers in that book?
No, I don't think that was in there. So,
do you not know that? Do you know that's his nickname, Remus Powers? When he puts on that derby hat, he's Remus Powers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I met him at the Jack, and I was like, man, his name seems familiar, etc. And then all of a sudden, when I came back home, I'm like, oh, you dummy, you've read one of his books. So my second favorite book,
Excellent.
Franklin Barbecue.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is really good. I mean, the notoriety that Franklin has, and it really kind of talks about his modest beginnings and starting out, and when he went into the grocery store and had 5 briskets and stuff, and was pushing it around like he's some badass or something, and really proud of himself. So it's really an interesting book, just from a technology standpoint, building pits and fires and the different types of woods, and so this is actually a really, really good one. Number one, of course, we all know is 50 Shades of Chicken.
Right.
No. Just kidding.
I bet there's a lot of whipping going on in there.
Exactly.
Is that a picture book, Greg? Lots of pictures?
I hope.
Yeah. There's a little bit of, you see the twine and the tying and everything.
Is there a spatchcocking going on in there?
Uh-oh. We're getting out of control. Of course, Meathead's book.
Right.
So, I'm the guy that, you can see that I go in and highlight things. And,
wow.
And so I've told him I'm going to send him a few comments, whether he wants it or not. But I do give Meathead's book out at all my Traeger classes as the top grand prize for the day. So,
nice.
But that is unbelievable book. And if someone is at 10%, they can get to 70, 80% just by reading Meathead's book.
All right, let's go ahead and race around the panel here. As far as books are concerned, we'll go to Ooltewah, Tennessee, and talk to Steve Ray. Steve, do you have any favorite barbecue books?
Aaron Franklin's is probably number one. Like Doug said, he really talks about his humble beginnings. He talks about not being able. Apparently, Doug, they were poor. I mean, I'm talking.
Yeah.
He and his wife were, almost living in the car poor. And how his journey led him to learning how to cook brisket. And he bought that old trailer, and it sat in his driveway for, months and months and months before he could work on really interesting stuff. I've got Meathead's book. It's great. Tuffy Stones, I've got his book now, Cool Smoke. He has a lot of good background things in it. Myron, I got Myron's book. He talks about when he was a kid, especially when he was talking about making the pits for whole hogs. I've got Chris Lilly's book. He talks about, his journey from being a Vanderbilt student in finance to meeting his wife and ending up in Decatur, Alabama. I saw an interview one time. I wish Tuffy Stone would write a book about Myron Mixon, or wish they would compare notes and write a book together, because Tuffy talked about Myron having to cook for a living, that if he didn't win, he wouldn't make the house payment. And I always thought that should be in a book somewhere, Doug and David and Greg. And maybe if they're listening, if they get a glimpse of this or something, they may collaborate, because I think that would be a great book if those two got together, taking it from, of course, from the books that I have to suggestions of books.
Before Tuffy writes that book, he should get a better cell phone connection. That's what I David Huff, your thoughts on books?
I mean, I've been reading since about 11th grade here, and I don't know.
It's an elective.
You're from Oklahoma. We're proud of you for reading.
Here we go. Watch out.
So, I'm not big on my generation, probably a little bit more on the internet. I go on the internet and get a lot of recipes and read a lot of stories. I don't have a lot of books, although I will say the very first book that kind of started me in barbecue and cooking was Bobby Flay, actually. Boy Meets Grill.
Love it.
Yeah, and I made a recipe out of there of saffron, yellow pepper saffron sauce. There you go. On a cedar plank salmon. I made that for my wife, and that was the very first date, and I must have done something right because it worked out. So I like that book. I also have Greg from your show. You had these gentlemen on, Andy Husbands, and Chris Hart, Pitmaster. After I heard that on your show, I went out and bought that book. Really entertaining. I love how they start off with backyard barbecue. There you go. Yep. Cover's great. That's a great looking beef rib. They start off with backyard barbecue. They go through the different regions of barbecue and then finish up with a section on competition. I just really like the flow of that book as well. So other than that, like I said, I do a lot of looking on websites and getting information. Don't really prefer to read. I prefer to listen.
This is my favorite barbecue and grilling book right here. Hardcore Carnivore right there. Gotta love it. Actually, that was the first book that was on top of my list there. So, or on top of my book pile. I can't believe I had that Pitmaster book too. I thought I signed that one and gave it away to some lucky contestant. All right, so I don't read books. Don't send me books. I don't read them. Alaska. I have an extensive list of top men and women in the barbecue community, and I just reach out and ask questions. That's what I do. But I understand that not everybody can do that. So since I can, I do, and I usurp the reading by talking to the best of the best. David, your take. By the way, limited time because we got on the NBBQL rant, and there you go. Steve Ray, always a darling
Steve
of the
guy.
media. Yeah,
Steve, you owe me 5 minutes next segment. next.
Tab.
Right. First off, Greg, you do a great job reading those the promos. You're just a wizard with words. You really are.
Oh, wizard. Okay, I see you working. That's a good callback. That's a good callback from the first hour. I like it.
Yeah, I couldn't help it.
Fifth string.
So I was cooking this weekend, had a bunch of friends over, and they were watching me get. I did a brisket, and then I also did some turkey breasts, and they were watching me. I brined the turkey breasts and I injected the brisket, and they were asking me, well, how do you know what to do when and which one of those to use? And I'm sure you visited this topic on the show before, but I thought it would be, just a good chance to get the other guys' take on. There used to be kind of rules around it, but now talking to guys in competition, they're injecting and brining things that probably would have done the opposite technique on before. So I've always thought that brining was more for adding moisture, doing things to lean cuts of meat like poultry, pork loins, things that don't have a lot of fat. You wanted to brine to add the moisture, and then the injection was to add the flavor deeper into the meat, like a brisket, like a pork butt. Those things have enough fat, they're not going to dry out. But I've seen people inject chicken thighs. I've heard of people brining a pork butt, brining a brisket. Yep. Are there any rules anymore? I know brining, although I love brining a turkey, I made a turkey on the smoker for Thanksgiving about 5 years ago, and I brined it. And I've never not brined a turkey. It was by far the juiciest bird that I've ever made. And now you have a problem with getting the skin a little bit crispy if you do the brine on that versus injecting, but I thought it was well worth it. I've never tried to brine a pork butt or a brisket, but I know people are doing it. So I just kind of wanted to get the other guys' takes on what they think works best for what particular food they're cooking.
Doug?
Yeah, I don't brine. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't brine. I will marinate some, like fajitas or thinner pieces of meat and things like that. So, maybe that's kind of the same, but that's really more, not less salt that you're putting in, and maybe you're curing it a little bit with pineapple juice or orange juice and things like that. So, but I do dry brine now. So like I've started dry brining my beef ribs and even my steaks and things like that before I cook them. I'll dry brine it, but wet brine is not something that I do. Now, I do inject a lot. I used to inject my ribs in competition, but I don't do that anymore. But I inject all the other meats, and in fact, even when I'm cooking a brisket at home, I was going to, cook one this weekend. I was going to try a new injection. So I do inject quite a bit. I inject my turkeys, but brining is I just don't think it's worth the time, effort, and space because it only penetrates the meat just a little bit. It just doesn't penetrate it that much.
Steve, your thoughts?
I'm not a briner. I'm an injector all the way. I think brine's a waste of time. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I'm certainly not a competition cook by any stretch, but when it comes just to the backyard, I don't like Doug and probably Steve as well. It seems to take up a lot of space and a lot of water and other ingredients if you're going to go all crazy with it for very little change in flavor. A lot of people like to put syrup and liquor and all that stuff in, but I think Meathead has pretty much dispelled, that myth of forego the brining and do some, big salting and let that go ahead and denature the meat versus this whole brining thing. Although I think Stephen Reichlin is still a really big briner of Thanksgiving turkeys, but that's, more of the traditional side of him as well. But I do believe in injecting. I think that you can put flavor where it needs to go very quickly, and there's not a lot of hassle and all that other crap that you get with the brining. So, take it or leave it for what it's worth. So we are kind of like right out of time, but at least here's my take. And David, you will get more time. Steve will get less time as we go forward. We'll start with you and everybody else. Can I go around the panel and get a commitment that you guys are in for the hashtag Cook My Steak Right movement of 2018, where you will show up at a restaurant where you would normally buy a steak, and it does not have to be prime, although if you are so encouraged, please do so, and order the steak medium. Now, I know we could be going against the grain totally. Daniel Vaughn kind of chased me down a little bit by saying that 140 was stupid and that I couldn't go into a steakhouse and order medium. And I said, well, it's for field research. You're not doing it on personal preference. We're trying to do some field work here. I was a little unclear if he also committed to doing that. I'm going with no, but I figured I would ask you guys. So, David, let me start with you. Will you find a steakhouse before next month, take a thermometer with you, order medium, and temp it and see where it's at?
Yes, sir. I give you my vow. Just send me your address to where I can send the bill.
All right. You have my email address.
Yeah, right.
Doug Scheiding in
No
Texas. Will you go to a steakhouse, high, medium, or low, order a medium steak, and temp it right there?
Yes, I will. In fact, I thought John Dawson was right on the money in terms of temping things, so that's great. Now, what temperature are we declaring medium? Is that 140? What temperature are you declaring medium?
Well,
140 seems high to me for medium.
Well, hold on a second. Let's go ahead.
I would say medium is 140.
Let's go and let's get the right number here, right? So medium.
Yeah. So I mean, I want to know what number we're trying to approach here. So
here we go. USDA says medium. Oh, that seems very high. Wow.
Let me get one of my books.
Well, I have Meathead sticker upstairs on my refrigerator, but I would have to leave to get it, and we're rapidly running out of time. Actually,
Artie's book says 145 for medium.
All right, yeah, I see somewhere here it says 150. So let's shoot 145. Final cooked temperature for medium, and see what happens. So order the steak medium. When it hits the table, produce your weapon. And by weapon, I mean thermometer. Stick it in there and see what temperature it comes out at. And again, I'm really looking for more. I mean, if it's over, it's over. Send it back, get a new one. They'll recook the whole thing. But I want to see if it's under and by how much. Like, I mean, I truly believe you could be getting steaks in the 120s. Saying medium, so it's not undercooked. Steve, is this something that you're willing to participate in?
I will go one step further. I will ask for an exact temperature of 140, Greg, and when it comes out 135, I will send it back.
Oh, well.
And I will eat a steak that's been rubbed under a chef's armpit.
Yeah.
Just like you.
Yeah, I would say. I think you're asking
because
for
that's
trouble.
What they do.
Yeah, I know. Well,
do they have beef in Tennessee? Steve, I thought it was pig. Are you going to get a pig steak? What's going on?
Man, we got beef. We got everything in Tennessee, buddy.
All right. So now I would say
go down fat guy on a seesaw.
Steve, what if the restaurant that you're at says that they do not use meat thermometers?
I will raise hell and say, what? I've got one. Greg Rempe's got one. What the hell's wrong with you people?
That's right.
And then I'll escort it out of the
Works
restaurant.
every time.
All right. Well, good
They'll
news.
throw me the doggy bag with the steak rubbed under the cook's armpit.
The 3 embedded correspondents say that they are in for the new hashtag Cook My Steak Right movement, which I appreciate. And then, so we'll circle back next month. That'll be the first thing we hit very briefly is how accurate are the steaks. By the way, I commit to also doing it as well. So we'll have 4 evaluations. And other than that, I will see you guys next month. Thanks for doing it, as always. There they are, the embedded correspondents.
All guests appear via the Traeger Grills hotline. Yummy.
Man, I am not hitting the right button. What happened? There we go. I'm going to pull that one down on accident. Anyway, we're a little late here. That's fine. Stick with me. Let me get this read through, and then we'll tighten up the second hour, and we'll sign off. Attention anyone who loves sausage and barbecue. Let me tell you about Southside Market and Barbecue, okay? Established in 1882, Southside, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas, and has been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Famous for the original beef sausage, coarse ground, and a natural pork casing, so good, so Central Texas. Not only is the beef sausage great, but so is their authentic Central Texas barbecued meats. All the meats, including the prime briskets, slow and low smoke for many hours over real Texas post oak wood. They ship nationwide via the online store, SouthsideMarket.com. Ship fresh and smoked sausages nationwide. Shipping customers can choose to order now and ship later, include a custom gift note. Mail multiple addresses with no additional charges. How nice is that? All shipped items vacuum sealed to ensure freshness, ease of preparation for the customer. Ship with dry ice to ensure complete freshness upon arrival. All meats processed in the on-site USDA inspected facility. On-site meat markets for fresh and smoked products. Custom orders welcome as well. They got 2 restaurant locations if you're going to be around. In Elgin since 1882, of course, and then the Bastrop, Texas location since 2014. Grocery distribution through Texas and many surrounding states. Here's the kicker. 10% off coupon code for anyone doing purchasing online when you use the code BBQ Central, one word, BBQ Central, one word, for your 10% off any stuff you buy at the online SouthsideMarket.com. If you haven't tried the slammers, the sausage slammers, got to get that. If you haven't tried the beef sausage, man, talk about unique and authentic Central Texas. It's got to be the beef sausage. SouthsideMarket.com. BBQ Central is the coupon code. 10% off the entire order online. SouthsideMarket.com. All right, we're back to wrap the second hour and show. Stick around. Be right back.
This is Chris Payne from Euclid, Ohio, and you are listening to Barbecue Central.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
The National Barbecue News, dedicated to all things barbecue. Their goal to introduce new people to the barbecue world while keeping the barbecue enthusiast and professional informed on all the current happenings in and around the barbecue nation. They obtain this goal by offering timely news stories, new product reviews, barbecue event calendars, and unique recipes inside their printed products, website, social media pages, and email newsletters. Subscribe now by visiting barbecuenews.com. That's BARBECUE, barbecuenews.com. barbecuenews.com. All right, thanks again to the panel for joining me. Doug Scheiding, David Huff, and Steve Ray. All the way back in the first hour, we spoke with Max Good from AmazingRibs.com, hitting some of the 2018 Pitmaster List Award winners. Then we moved on to Sam Hayes from Sam's Northwest Barbecue Company, talking about the line of Myron Mixon Smokers and what he saw while he toured their facility a handful of weeks ago. In the second hour, the Embedded Correspondents Segment, we talked about National Barbecue League. We talked about if competition barbecue is still growing or not. We talked about barbecue books and injecting and or brining. When do you do it? Hard and fast rules, all that stuff. And then, of course, they all committed to furthering the new effort of hashtag Cook My Steak Right and the abomination of 2018's food agenda, which is undercooking of steaks on purpose to avoid throwout. Use a thermometer and cook it right, damn it. So we're going to be hitting up steakhouses across the United States here over the next 3 and 4 weeks and report back our findings. Again, if you want to take part, just go ahead and hashtag me Cook My Steak Right. Send me an email, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Remember, extra credit points for those that are taking pictures of where the thermometer reads temperature-wise in the restaurant. That would be great. Big show planned for you next week, as always. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I say September 11th, 2001, I will never forget. I also say...
Start the game! Let's go!
And until we meet again, I say... Good night now!